Now then, of course, all eyes on the big one this weekend. Tyson Fury goes in against Oleksandr Usyk over in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And that's where we head now. And this man has got a big involvement in Riyadh on Saturday night because his fighter, Moses Atoma, goes in against Dempsey McKean. I'm delighted to welcome top boxing trainer Ben Davison to the show. Ben, good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm all good, thank you. How are you?
Very good, thanks, Ben. Simon's with me, so too is Danny Murphy. Moses Atoma, said to be the next big thing in the world of boxing. I know Simon and myself, we've spoken to him, highly impressed by him. How is he going into this fight with Dempsey McKean on Saturday night?
Yeah, he's cool as a cucumber, to be honest. He takes it all within his stride. I think that's what's so impressive, and I think that's key for him to be able to achieve all the things he's looking to achieve at such a young age. Is that he's very mature, he deals with these sort of situations very well, and obviously there's more to boxing than just the boxing, and so far he's ticking the box in that department as well. We're
probably guilty of it. I know I am, Ben. I think I've addressed Moses as you are recognised as the next big thing in boxing. Is it difficult for him to keep his feet in the ground? Does he listen much to the noise?
No, I don't think so. I think, if anything, he's one of those where he's overcritical on himself, and I think that's important. That's something that you do need. I think that helps keep your feet on the ground. I think that helps keep you striving to improve, and those are the things that you need to be doing if you want to become, not just get to the top, but stay at the top.
Ben, you know the fight game inside out. Of course you do, and we'll talk Anthony Joshua shortly. But on Fury Usyk, they go again. Tyson Fury is saying, when I win on Saturday, I think there's got to be a trilogy next year for sure. Do you envisage that happening?
Yeah, I think if Fury's to win on Saturday night, I think that's the fight that makes sense. I think that's the fight that people would be calling for. And, I've already seen a video of His Excellency saying that that's the fight he'd want to make if Fury is victorious on Saturday as well.
When you look at the fight, Ben, I mean, first of all, who are you going with? And what kind of fight do you think it's going to be this time round?
I'm really not sure, to be honest. I know Tyson did an interview saying that he doesn't feel like too much needs to change, and I totally understand what he's saying. The first fight was very, very close. I think that obviously some adjustments need to be made because he wasn't successful, but they've also spent a lot of time in the ring with each other to pick up and understand each other a little bit more as well. So I think some adjustments need to be made, but I don't think there needs to be a huge U-turn. However, I am wondering if there is going to be a huge U-turn, and so I'm really up in the air with it, to be honest. And I suppose that's what intrigues us when it's a big fight. We're all not sure, and that's what draws everybody to tune in.
Who did you have in the first fight, Ben?
Again, I was in a similar situation where I wasn't sure how each man was going to approach the fight. To be honest, I was quite confident how Usyk would approach the fight. I knew what he meant when he said, "I will not leave you alone." I knew he was going to be aggressive in the fight. I just wasn't sure how Tyson was going to approach the fight. And it was a very competitive fight. I feel like throughout the fight there was going to be major adjustments. I feel the same in this one. I feel like it's not just a straightforward, for example, people saying Tyson needs to go forward, rough him up, put the pressure on him, etc., etc. Usyk will make an adjustment. You know, in the first fight, I felt like he made an adjustment to start to punch with Tyson. That's how he ended up landing one of the key shots that hurt Tyson. And I feel like that's an adjustment he's got. If Tyson is pressing him, working hard, trying to step to him, I wouldn't be surprised if Usyk starts to punch with him. And therefore then there's going to need to be another adjustment. And when you've got two high-level fighters, that's what it's about. And who can make the adjustments quicker, who can make the better adjustments, will come out on top.
What do you expect? I mean, we're seeing something from Tyson, or we will see something from Tyson that we've never seen before. Him going into a ring having lost. How does that, you know him, you were there when he came back after the sabbatical of a significant period of time and kind of shocked the world in the first fight against Deontay Wilder, where I think most people believe he won that fight and the draw was unfair. But what do you think the psychological impact will be, given the fact he was very verbose before the fight about he was fighting a gap-toothed middleweight that wasn't fit to be in the same ring as him? He's now been hurt by him. He's now lost to him. What do you expect the reaction to be from Fury?
I think a positive one. I think some of the things he says is tongue in cheek. He plays a character. We all know there's Tyson Fury and then there's the Gypsy King. I think sometimes some of the things he says are the Gypsy King, and I think some of the things he says come from Tyson Fury. But I think going into the first fight, there was a healthy respect for Oleksandr Usyk, and I believe that'll still be there, if not even more so going into this second fight. Whether that'll work for him or against him, in terms of a bit more respect and knowing that he can be hurt by him, we're soon to see.
I was thinking about your fighter Moses Atoma again. Dempsey McKean, 22-1, one career loss against Hrgovic last year. It's quite a step up for Moses, isn't it? This is a big moment for him.
Yeah, of course it is. But if we as a team are calling for him to be campaigning at the top level in the not too distant future, guys like Dempsey McKean, you need to be beating. So we'll go out there. Depending on what he gains from the fight, hopefully he gains some rounds from the fight. Dempsey McKean seemed durable against Filip Hrgovic. He's a big, long, tall southpaw. He should bring some hurdles for us to have to overcome, and that'll be great for the development of Moses, and that's what it's about at this point, to get him to a position where he's ready for world level.
I know, Ben, you also trained Fabio Wardley, and he's been very popular when he's joined us on this show. What next for him? Because we saw with such devastating power what he did to Fraser Clark.
Yeah, he's a devastating puncher, Fabio, and he's got a chance with absolutely anybody. He's brave, he's confident, he commits, and with the power that he possesses, he's a danger in the heavyweight division for sure, as we all know. Fraser, fantastic guy and a fantastic boxer, an Olympic bronze medalist. Fabio, with the background that he's come from. But when you've got some of the attributes that Fabio's got, he's extremely coachable. He's in with a shout with absolutely anybody. And like you say, he's a great character, a great guy. He comes across really well with the punditry stuff and that he does. And I think he's got a big future in the heavyweight division.
So what does that look like, though, Ben? When obviously he's now inside the top 10 in the world rankings. Where do we next see Fabio out, and likely against whom?
I'm not too sure, to be honest, against who. I think he's obviously recently signed with Queensbury. I know Queensbury have the likes of Joe Joyce. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's a fight that they might look
David
at.
Adelaide.
I know there was David Adelaide's obviously already boxed Adelaide.
Of course, yeah.
But Adelaide had an impressive win against Solomon. So I'm not sure, but I think he needs to be. I know Joseph Parker's now got this Daniel Dubois shot, but I think the names in and amongst that world level, that fringe world level, I think those are the guys that Fabio needs to be.
Would you put him with someone like Martin Bacoli?
Martin Bacoli, I know a lot of people want to avoid the name and this, that, and the other. He is a hard night's work. If that's the opportunity that comes about. It is what it is. Like I said, Fabio's got a chance against absolutely anybody, but Martin Bacoli is a handful for absolutely anybody, and all the heavyweights in the division do know that as well.
So, Ben, here's the thing. We know that Daniel Dubois fights in Riyadh, not this time around, but in February, and is up against Joseph Parker. Daniel Dubois, who did such a devastating job on Anthony Joshua, and you were in Anthony Joshua's corner that night when that all unfolded. How is Joshua? What next for him? What's it looking like? You still attached to him? What's going on?
Yeah, he's okay. He's doing some rehab work at the minute on some niggles and that he's got. He's in a good place. He's just getting the rehab done, getting himself in a position where he can get back to jumping on the bandwagon and being back in full training. So he's okay, spirits up, and he's been here before. He's took losses before. and he's come back stronger. So
I mean,
that's what he'll be looking to do.
The reason I ask, and I know Simon will come in, Tyson Fury out there with you in Riyadh has already said, when I win on Saturday, I think there's got to be a trilogy next year for sure. In other words, there'll be a third fight between himself and Usyk. And he goes on to say, Joshua's in tatters. Is he?
I wouldn't say he's in tatters. I mean, obviously it's not an ideal situation, is it? But to lose, but if Tyson wins, you know, I don't disagree. The next fight for him would be Oleksandr Usyk. I believe that would be the fight that people would want to see. But Anthony Joshua, whether some people like it or not, he's a huge name and a huge draw, and still a top heavyweight. Sometimes he's always going to be in a position to be able to put himself in a great fight, in against the top guys, and whether that comes in a fight or two's time, or whether that's his next fight, he's in a position and put himself in a position for all the hard work and years of success that he's had to be able to do that. So, you know, no plans at the minute. The focus at the minute is just for him to get back to full fitness, get back to full training, and see how the land lies, because week by week, fight by fight, the heavyweight division can change, and how that looks and how opportunities pop up can change. So we'll see.
When you reflect back on that fight, Ben, I mean, nobody really saw that coming. And I know that you say that Anthony's been on the end of defeats before. Obviously, a couple of them against Usyk, against Andy Ruiz, but nobody's cleaned him out in the way that Daniel Dubois did. I'm curious to see, when you reflect back on it, what you look back on and think, because you can give a lot of credit to Daniel Dubois, and the credit has to be Daniel Dubois. But Anthony Joshua's entrance into the ring, to his preparedness to seem to be able to fight the fight that he had to fight in front of him, seems to be miles off. And then there's the criticism that was made about some of the tactical decisions that were made. Some of the advice that was given by you seems to have been under scrutiny. Shane McGuigan made an observation about rolling the dice. When you look back on all those things, what's your major takeaway from it?
No, I don't, because if you talk, like, for example, I think if you actually listen to what Shane said in the observation that he made, was he said Daniel throws the right hand behind the double. I think his interpretation of what was said in the corner was to let Daniel throw a double jab and then counter the double jab with a right uppercut. Of course, Daniel throws a right hand behind the double jab. He would be 100% correct if that was what we meant. That wasn't what we was asking for. We was actually asking for AJ to throw a double jab to set up the right uppercut, not to throw it cold. Some people want to say that was the incorrect shot. I've actually been in the exact same situation when a fighter, for example, Daniel Dubois' defensive motion to get out the way of the right hand was to get underneath it, duck underneath it. When Lee Wood boxed Maurizio Lara, that was the same thing he was doing. We prepared Lee to say, if a fighter is getting underneath it and ducking underneath your right hand, let him dip onto the uppercut. Of course, you need to set the uppercut up. And we didn't manage to do that in the fight, but that is the correct adjustment to make. If somebody's getting underneath, ducking underneath your right hand, you can then let them dip onto your right uppercut. To roll the dice, I think that, you know, I don't shy back on that. I think that, again, the comments after were from Shane was, I would tell him to ride the storm and rely on his athleticism down the stretch. He had tried to weather the storm, you know, and we wasn't able to do that, you know, and down the stretch, Daniel's shown he's got a good engine. I felt like, you know, for us to get back in the fight, he had to roll the dice, and not long after that conversation was the most success AJ had in the fight by hurting Dubois when he took a chance. He put a right hand behind his jab. I don't blame him. After a torrid 4 rounds, got a little bit carried away, and unfortunately we come up short. We take that as a team. Of course, there was things that went wrong in the fight. We can address that. We know where that was. But
he just looked so assured before the fight, in the build-up, Ben, and coming into the ring, he looked so unassured and so away with himself, so completely different from the Friday evening in Leicester Square, where he was the epitome of confidence and assuredness. He looked the polar opposite walking into that ring.
Yeah, it's hard to say based off how he looked. You know, I can't comment on how he walked to the ring, etc. I just know that obviously amongst ourselves, we know that where some things went wrong, and You know, it's important for us that we don't look like we're making excuses, you know. But there was things that went wrong that we probably could have done a better job with close to the fight, in and around the fight. But look, you can sometimes say those things and come out victorious. So we can't point the blame. We've got to own it. We've got to wear it.
Sure.
And that's what we've done. We've not made any excuses. And I think that's part of you know, it's easy to ride high and jump all over it when you're riding high. But unfortunately, we took a loss, and we've got to own it, wear it, stand up to it, and take it on the chin.
Fair enough. Ben, thank you very much indeed. Good luck to your man Moses Atoma on Saturday night against Dempsey McCain. And you can watch Riyadh's season, Usyk against Fury 2, reignited live on TNT Sports box office. No TNT Sports subscription needed. Separate purchase required.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.